Cut. All right, here we are, part 2. I got my daughter Hayden over there videotaping. How you doing, Hayden?
Good.
Yeah. Okay, so this is just continuing the 2-sample T interval that we had already talked about a little bit. This is straight out of your book. The very first page talks about brand name batteries and generic batteries. And there was these things called CD players. They were compact disc players. They were amazing. They're not really around anymore, but it was super cool because you put one of these in there, and then if you wanted to go to the third song, you just went 1, 2, 3, play, and played the third song. It wasn't like this other thing that we used to have called cassette tapes, where you put it in, you press fast forward, and you'd wait, and then you press play, and then it was still the second song. So you press fast forward, and then you press play, and it was the fourth song, or you were already in the third song, you had to go back. Anyway, it was a mess. But what they did is they had a CD player with batteries in it, and they just pressed play and they let it go. And this is how many minutes they got from brand name batteries. This is how many minutes they got from generic batteries. So just looking at it, you can tell, you have a pretty good idea that the generic batteries are lasting longer. So let's not be fooled, okay, by these brand name batteries. And having said that, this was from one particular store probably. We don't know what store it was. It doesn't mean it's true for all generic batteries, right? We don't want to extrapolate and say that it's true for everything that was just true in this specific sample. What you would do for a problem like this, if they wanted you to find an interval, is the first thing you do is you would plug these into your calculator, right? One in L1 and one in L2. It doesn't really matter which one you plug it into, but if it was me, I would plug in the larger numbers in L1 and the smaller numbers in L2, okay? That's what I would do. But again, you don't have to, but that's what I would do. So I'd put generic in L1 and I'd put the brand name in L2, and if you want to go ahead and pause it, you can pause it and pause this video and go ahead and enter the data in. So once those are entered, hey Landon, you okay? Let me get Landon. Landon, what's wrong? He's very sad. I'll have to go see what's going on. Anyway, so what do? You go to stat tests, right, which we've done before, and you're gonna pick the 2-sample T interval. The 2-sample T interval. Once you pick that, it'll give you the option of do we have data or do we have stats? Well, we have data, right? They didn't just give us the Y bar and the S and the sample size. They gave us the actual data. So we would pick data on that one. And then L1, L2, just like before. Come here. Come here. Come here. Landon doesn't want to be in the video. Hayden, show Landon just so he can be in the video. Right. Deacon, you want to be in the video?
He's already in it.
Okay, throwing balls. Okay. Everything else is pretty similar to what we've done before, right? So our list 1 is in L1, our list 2 is in L2. The frequencies just need to be 1 and 1. But then we got this new thing called pooled. Are we supposed to pool the data? Okay. When it comes to pooled, and you're like, what should I do? Should I pool? Should I not pool? Think about drugs and just say no. Okay. Just say no. Oh. You want to say hi to everybody?
Say hi.
Can you say hi? Is that an eraser? Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you loving quarantine? Is it fun? Yeah. Here, look at everybody and just say hi. Hi. Very good. Okay. So just say no. Whenever they ask you if you want to pool, say no. Sometimes it's okay to pool, sometimes it's not, but it's always okay to not. Okay? I don't know if that made sense, but it's always okay to not. So if you do that, pick 95%. Here is the interval that you will end up with. 2.1 and 35.1. So what does it mean, right? What does it mean? Well, again, if you can kind of go back to the proportions, It'll help you when we interpret this, and I'll have another video because I'll erase all this and I'll show you the interpretation. But the